hold on here. Yeah.
Sylvia and Jamie, I see you on line. Can you hear me?
Still the echo.
All right, very good. Get any snow and blending, Sylvia?
It's kind of hard to hear because the echo goes 3 times.
Sign off and sign back in, because I still show you are signed in 2 times on your computer. So I'd log off of Zoom and then log back in and see if that gets rid of one of you. You're like twins.
Jamie, you're on mute. Can you unmute?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get any snow down there?
There's snow. I'm driving up. I should be there in like.
Oh, you're on your way, huh?
Yeah, I'm about 8 minutes out. So.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. I think we're going to go ahead and start if that's okay with both of you.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. We'll call this meeting to order. Jamie's on his way. Sylvia's on Zoom. So we have 3 commissioners attending. Do we have a volunteer for the invocation? Randy, you do that for us, please.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the opportunity we have to meet the council and commission and to be able to guide this county and this area in the decisions that are made this day. Bless us that we will be good stewards to the responsibilities that we have, that we will respect one another and respect the private property and the public property, which is all in our stewardship. For these things we pray humbly in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Randy. We have Randy here in the commission room, Lyman, Duncan, myself, and Mac. At this point, next on our agenda will be the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'll all stand and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next on our agenda is public comment. We'll turn that time over to Mac. He can explain the rules and take the comment.
Randy, I don't know if you want to make a public comment. If not, we can jump right into. Okay. You get 3 minutes apiece on public comment, and then after that, I'll ask you if those are online. I'll ask them to unmute themselves or raise their hand, and then we'll call on them for 3 minutes.
My name is Randy Day. I came today specifically to thank the commission for item number 14 in bold letters, and I want you to know what a relief that is to me, being in the development world and trying to get things done. I want to thank Sylvia and Jamie for their efforts in running. I appreciate you. I can't wait to interact with you and get to meet you and do some things. But I think this commission and San Juan County has always been a beacon for private property rights in my world since Mr. Black and Mr. Red and the different guys that have led this county over the years. And it feels like San Juan County's back, and so is the snow. And I can certainly appreciate both. That's what makes us work in the summer. Thank you very much. I appreciate this commission very, very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Okay, continuing online. If anybody's wanting to make it. Okay, it looks like I've got Carolyn Daly first, and then we'll go to Marlene, I think, after that.
Thank you. Good morning, commissioners. This is Carolyn Daly from Spanish Valley. First, I'd like to welcome the new commissioners. I am speaking to strongly oppose the approval of item number 13 for the contract with Jerry McNeely. I have been involved in Spanish Valley issues, and contrary to the information packet, McNeely does not represent the views of all citizens in Spanish Valley and does not attempt to work with those with oppositional views. It is shocking that he is to be paid $1,500 a month, plus be given a county vehicle and cell phone for what essentially amounts to having a weekly breakfast with his cronies and passing along already available public reports, such as the level of Ken's Lake. He has no credentials whatsoever as a planner. I am upset at this because I have served for the past 2 years on the San Juan County Library Board. The two main library directors work very hard, are understaffed, and have to scrupulously pare down their budgets and seek outside grants to manage on the money allocated to them by the county. In particular, and relating to Spanish Valley, the library board had a very difficult discussion this fall as to whether we could even afford the $7,000 per year contract with Grand County to provide library services to Spanish Valley. That's 348 individual patrons that would lose their library cards. It's hard to believe that the county administrator is proposing to pay McNeely $18,000 per year, which that adds up to, when he himself instructed the library director to cut her 2023 budget so much so that she must wonder if the library will have the $7,000 to provide library services for Spanish Valley residents. In addition, Commissioner Adams has been elected and is paid to do the job of representing citizens and concerns in Spanish Valley. He should come to Spanish Valley himself and not need to hire a liaison to do it for him. There is also a Spanish Valley representative on the Planning Commission. I think approving this contract is an irresponsible waste of county taxpayers' money, and that the new commissioners should further investigate this matter before making their decision. Listen to McNeely's past reports on commission recordings to judge if they are worth this high price. I also know many other people in Spanish Valley who feel this way who were not able to attend the meeting. Thank you for your consideration of my views.
Okay, thank you there. Marlene, you were muted and then unmuted. I don't know if you're wanting to make a public comment.
Picture of me. Can you see me? Well, it doesn't matter. Good morning, commissioners, and welcome to Jamie and to Sylvia. I hope to meet you one day. So I would like to address number 13 about the rehiring of Jerry McNeely. I believe he was released last go around because they didn't feel like it was necessary. I'm happy to be a watchdog for the flooding on Sunny Acres from Pack Creek when the tumbleweeds build up, and I'll do it for free. No car, no gas, no phone, no salary. His bill must be over $30,000 a year. In the past, I've called Mac and told him that there are tumbleweeds building up. He sent a truck and men, to remove the debris. And this helps. It doesn't stop the flooding. When there is flooding and the road is closed, I'm out there watching, usually chatting with the policeman because he's controlling the situation. And I guess calling back to Mac or someone. But I've never seen Jerry there. I don't know where he lives. Maybe he's there on the other side of the water. But I've never seen him helping out or even watching. So please consider number 13 and vote against. I thank you for your time and the work for this poor county. We don't need to spend money on something that is really not that valuable, in my opinion. I can also go over to Ken's Lake and view it and tell the commissioners, tell you all that it's full or not full. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the work you do. Goodbye.
Thanks, Marlene. Okay, anyone else that's online wishing to make a public comment?
Is there a way that I'm supposed to raise my hand?
Okay, go ahead. Just state your name and
Great, thank you.
where you live. All I see is a phone number here.
My name is Jenny Widensee. I live in Spanish Valley, been here for a while. I'm a resident, not a developer. I don't know much about this position. I wasn't really that aware that it actually existed. I've not met this liaison in the past, and I'm not sure if the position is really necessary. because I don't know what it's all about. I think though, if we're going to continue with a position like this, we need a clear set of tasks and goals that can be measured. Right now, I don't know what this position is supposed to cover or how it actually happens. I haven't really noticed any liaison going on my part. Mr. McNeely, I don't know him. I've never met him. So that's all I wanted to say. And also, I wanted to say welcome to our new commissioners, and I can't wait to meet you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I think we've covered everybody that's online. Okay, commissioners, that today is your public comment period.
Okay, next on our agenda will be the consent agenda. And Mac, if you'll just tell us those 5 items, quick summary of those 5 items on the consent agenda,
Absolutely.
then we can vote on it.
So we've got the approval of the January 3rd, 2023 commission meeting minutes, approval of the check registers for December 18th, 2022 to December 31st, 2022, approval of the check register for January 1st, 2023 to January 12th, 2023, approval of, these are our small purchase orders here, approval of $43,404.36 in small purchases. We have $1,731.56 for MK3 Mod 2M rifles for the sheriff's office. You have $1,899 for a clutch kit for Razor number 188. This is with the sheriff's office as well. Road department is doing the work for them for that. Got $18,875 for 5 full face respirators and rechargeable batteries with chargers, and $20,899 for a brush chipper. And these are for the fire department. Item number 5 on here is the approval of the 2023 alcohol beer retailer Class A license. This one's for Mexican Hat, the 7-Eleven down there.
Okay, commissioners, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? You're muted, both of you.
Commissioner Adams, I'd like to make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Jamie. And Sylvia, you're still muted. If you want to just leave your mic open, it's all right. Okay, we have a motion and a second. A motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Sylvia makes a motion, second. Any further discussion by the commissioners? With none, all in favor say aye.
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 And I will vote aye too. 3 in favor, 0 opposed. We're down to number 6, Community Development Block Grant. This is a public hearing. I need a motion to go into public hearing. Consider the Community Development Block Grant.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Jamie makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Sylvia. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have 3 in favor, 0 opposed. We are now in public hearing for CDBG grant. Any public wanting to make a comment on the CDBG proposal? Mac, do you want to give us a little background?
I will certainly appreciate that. The Community Development Block Grant Program it's a small cities program, federally funded program administered by the state of Utah Housing Community Development Division. We're eligible to apply for funding. This is our first public hearing notice regarding making of that application, and a lot of it is to hear the public, to see if there's any specific things that the public would like us to submit for. The purpose of this public hearing is to provide citizens with that pertinent information about the Community Development Block Grant Program and to allow for discussion of possible applications. This public hearing will cover eligible activities, program requirements, and expected funding allocations in the region. CDBG program can fund a broad range of activities, including but not limited to the construction of public works and facilities, water and sewer lines, fire stations, acquisition of real property, and provisions of public services such as food banks or homeless shelters. In the event that San Juan County does choose to apply for CDBG funding, a second public hearing will be held at a later date to discuss the actual project. Then further information can be obtained by contacting me. Some of the projects that we've done in here in the past were several ADA projects. We've done the elevator replacement project here in this building. In the past, they've funded fire stations, items like that. And so with that, commissioners, we turn it to the public, if there's any public.
Okay, is there any public that would like to comment? Seeing none, I will take a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Motion by Jamie and a second by Sylvia.
Yes.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Aye. Also, it's 3 in favor, 0 against. We're out of our public hearing on CDBG. Item 7, consider and approve purchase of outdoor ballot boxes. Lyman, would you like to speak to this?
The state offered a grant for money for 3 additional ballot boxes that we'd like to leave in the chapter houses in the 2024 election. Sorry.
Okay.
For the 2024 election. We've already received the money and
Okay.
it is a precise amount.
Okay, just a matter of formality for the commission to approve the purchase after you've already received the grant money. Do I have a motion to approve this purchase of outdoor ballot boxes?
I make a motion that we approve the purchase of the drop boxes.
Okay, we have a motion by Sylvia. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Jamie. Further discussion by the commission? Seeing none, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 So we have 3 in favor, 0 opposed. We're going down to item 8, consideration and approval of community library enhancement grant. Is Nicole on, or are you going to handle
I'll
that?
take care of these for staff. This Community Library Enhancement Grant is an annual grant. We've received this for several years now. Funds are used for collection development, technology for public use, programming, retrofitting the library building for ADA compliance, and minor capital projects such as updating furniture, carpet, paint, and minor repairs. This kind of helps us keep going in our library services. The grant total is for $6,190. There's no requirement for matching funds. All we have to do is demonstrate that 65% of the library's total operating revenues are from jurisdictional tax collection, which we're 100% tax collection of the library services in their own tax fund. Any questions with this one? Just kind of helps us adds to our revenue, but helps us. She's purchased technology equipment in the past, computers, public computers, items like that. We're definitely sorely in need of ramping up our collection as well throughout our library system.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the library enhancement grant?
Commissioner
I'll make a
Adams.
motion to approve the community library enhancement grant.
Okay, a motion by Sylvia and a second by Jamie.
I have a second, but I'd like to ask some questions if that's.
Please go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I second the motion. So Commissioner Adams and Mac, in regards to this grant, is this an annual grant? And if so, what is the amount that we're looking at?
Okay, Mac.
So this has been an annual grant. This one here begins in July of 2022 and termination is June of 2023. So it's kind of staggered because the state library is on that state physical system. So that's typical with our grants on here. The total amount of is $7,190. We have applied for this in the past. It's one of those grants that we have to sign up for. And as long as the state continues to be open, helping the libraries out with assistance, then we continue to apply for these. Typically, you would see this in the consent agenda where this is a routine matter for us. We brought all of our contracts, if there's questions and things that you guys would like to know or a direction that you guys would like to take. That's kind of why you're seeing it as just regular business item. But yeah, we have done this several years now in the past.
And has the grant already been allocated?
No, we have to sign the contract for it to be allocated to us from the state.
Okay. And what's the normal allocation once the grant's received by the county?
They're typically around the $7,000 mark.
Okay, and that's distributed among all the
Yeah, through our branches.
Okay. All right, thank you very much for allowing me to ask questions.
You betcha.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on item 8. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. That is 3 in favor, 0 opposed. We'll move on to number 9, consideration approval of lease with Wheeler Machinery. Is Jed online, or are you going to handle that, Mac?
I'll handle this one as well. So this one here, similar. So in our budget, we approved a lease for a front end loader. This is similar in nature to the leases that our road department has with the loaders as well, where we continue to lease these out for 5 years. Hopefully at the end of that 5 years, there's enough surplus value on there that it actually generates a little bit of revenue for us, and then we put that revenue back into the lease and continue to lease these. It's kind of a common thing. It's new to the landfill. And the previously we had heard that it was difficult to lease equipment at the landfill across the board at any landfill, but we've been working with Wheeler to kind of help us out, especially in this regards. We've had purchases of old used equipment in the past, and we've tried to keep that equipment operational and running. We purchased 2 loaders in the hopes of one would be parts and the other one would be able to keep it operational. But that thought has kind of failed us in our efforts, where it got to a point where we couldn't get any parts for a 4-unloader. And so it's time for us to start investing in the landfill. And this is just one. It's an easier method to go about rather than purchase the loader outright. If we lease it, they also help us maintain it throughout that period, that lease period as well. And so kind of helps us. It'll get us further, especially where we're, like I had mentioned earlier, that cell closure is pretty critical for us down there. This will help us go a long ways, and it also gives some reprieve to our mechanics with the road department that's had to try to work through those 2 loaders to make them run.
Like Max said, this was an item that came up during our budget hearing with Jed, and we approved it. And so there is money in our budget to do this lease. And like you said, we were ending up buying old used equipment that was so old we couldn't get parts for it. Once it broke down, we were done. So it just didn't make sense. So this is an item that has the funding, and so I'm looking for a motion to approve.
I'd like to make that motion, Commissioner.
Okay, Jamie makes a motion. Sylvia, do you second?
Before I second, can I add my support for this? I have visited with Jed and his crew, and I think they're in need of our help, especially when they're self-sufficient and they make an income. I think it'll be a good thing, and I second it.
Okay, I appreciate that, Sylvia. Since we're just new, just remind you, Sylvia and Jamie, we need a motion and a second on the item before we actually
okay.
speak to the item. There's nothing wrong with how you've done it, but I'm just letting you know kind of what the parliamentary procedure is. So appreciate your
Thank you.
support for that, Sylvia and Jamie both. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye also, and I know Jed is going to make some real positive progress at our landfill. We're excited to have him. Number 10, consider an approval of Amendment 1 to the Standard Service Provider Contract. And this is also a landfill item. So, Mac, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah. Last year we had submitted a request for proposal to companies that can come in and remove our recyclable metal, take it down and to the recycle plant and exchange it, and in that exchange then they would pay us the remaining funds after they take out their costs to do so. And so with that, the company came in and removed the metal that we had. They didn't quite finish up what all was there, but since that point in time, our landfill staff have been working down there to pull more metal out. We've also received more metal from companies that drop off at the landfill, and we separate that. Had a mass pile again. We awarded the contract to Acme Iron and Metal originally, and when they came in, took out all the metal that they had time for, they paid us $24,524.80 for that recycled metal. Would like to do that again, and in doing so, it's just a matter of amending the contract to allow for more time on there. He was able, he was willing to fix at the same cost, which is $80 a ton. So he was willing to keep that. The prices for metal have kind of gone down a little, back up. It's kind of been a little bit volatile, but he was willing to, he thinks that he could still make money on his end and still make us money on our end as well. And so would like to just continue that contract for a little bit more time. I'll be bringing a little bit later a program where would like to create some type of an incentive for the employees that are out there. There's really no incentive as they go through that garbage to jump down off of their equipment and pull copper, pull the metal and separate it. Would like to try to create some type of an incentive and reward. We have one employee that is really, really good about finding metal, but would like to spread that to all of the employees, kind of give them a little bit more encouragement to do that, keep our recyclables out of the landfill, and something that we can exchange for funds. So you'll see that program come to you at a later date. This one here is just to extend the contract so we can continue to get rid of the metal that we do have there.
Okay, we know how valuable recyclables are. And so in the landfill, if we can recycle some of this metal, I think it's a great idea. And like Max said, last year we got over 24,000 doing that. So do I have a motion to consider approval to amend number 1 of the standard provider contract with the ACME Iron and Metal?
I'll make that motion.
Jamie makes the motion. Sylvia?
I'll second it.
You'll second it. Now, any further discussion?
Well, I just want to say that I think this is such a good idea because we're not only recycling, we also allowing the space we have for the city. I can't really think of the name. we are running out of space basically, and the more we can recycle, not only is a beneficial monetary, but also as far as space, how much space we have available for us to continue to deposit, the garbage and all the other debris that we need to do.
Very good point, Sylvia. I agree with you. We'll call for the vote now. All in favor of approval, say aye.
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 And I vote aye also. 3 in favor, 0 opposed. We're down to number 11, consideration and adoption of an ordinance amending Section 11 of the San Juan County Personnel Policy. I assume you're going to handle that one too, Matt.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
So this one, as you remember, last commission meeting, we approved the travel reimbursement form. On there was a question about our rates being pretty low. Let me jump to this item so that sometimes I forget I'm supposed to be manning this as well. But let me jump to this item so that you can see where we're at. So on the policy, there's just minor adjustments. Really, it's about the rate on here, and the changes are to reflect that rate on here. And so initially, we would peg our rates using the state's reimbursement rate. As we've noticed, the state hasn't adjusted their rates for quite some time. Our miles per gallon reimbursement as you drive your personal vehicles are based off of the GSA, the General Services Administration rate that IRS puts out every year. Or sometimes they do it twice a year or 3 times, depending on inflation. And so what we're going to be doing on this, the recommendation is to also point our policy to the per diem rates for the food as well. And so both our fuel reimbursement and meal and incidental reimbursements will both be coming from the General Services Administration as they adjust those. On here, when you look at Utah, we've adjusted our Utah rates, or as we look at Utah rates, you have different rates for Moab, Park City, Provo, Salt Lake City, and then there's a standard rate. So if you're in a conference in Salt Lake City, your lunch, dinner, and potential incidental expenses can equal up to the $48 a day, a little bit more than what we're offering now. So that will help employees, especially with inflation. And then anywhere outside of those listed cities under the GSA system is applied to the standard rate. So if you were to go to a conference in St. George, we would just apply the standard rate of $44.25. We don't see a lot of conferences for us traveling to Moab, but we do have conferences that oftentimes take place at our Park City or Provo. And those rates will be applicable as well in there. But for the most part, you'll see the standard rate reimbursement on there. If this is approved today, we will have to make some minor adjustments to employees' budgets or the department budgets as well as the commission's budget, just to make sure that we cover the minor. It's not super extreme additional costs, but I think it'll help our employees, especially when trying to find places to eat now. It's pretty hard to eat off of that amount. But any questions?
So it's cheaper to go to Salt Lake and eat than it is to go to Moab to eat. I don't know if anybody in the room.
Even though this is right next door.
We're just always getting ripped off down there, you know. Okay, this looks good. Appreciate Mac doing this work. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
Okay, Jamie makes a motion. Sylvia, second.
Yes.
More discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Thanks, Mac, for doing that. I know that was kind of my rant and rave that day, so.
We definitely appreciate that.
Okay, number 12, consider and approval of SITLA easement agreement 2596 I see TJ's on phone. You need to unmute yourself, TJ.
Am I unmuted?
You're unmuted.
This agreement, back in 2006, if you look at your packet, I don't have it in front of me. I'm in a piece of equipment, but in 2006, they wanted to adopt that road. The commission approved it. The final paperwork with Sitla didn't ever get pushed through. There's some land that's being sold, and that's how it was brought to our attention when Sitla came back and said we did actually not have the easement. So what we're asking for today is to finish up the easement that was started in 2006. The county already does everything on that road, and so will be no added expense to the county. It'll be a perpetual easement with Sitla, so we will pay nothing to them for it. So that's what I'm asking for today, is for a new signature to be on it, just to clean up the paperwork and accept that road to the county.
DJ, has the county improved that road?
Yes.
Okay.
When they did the water and sewer project, that road was improved.
We were thinking that we did already have the easement on that. Is that correct?
Yes. If you look in that packet, David Bronson was a surveyor. He brought it to the commission. Lynn Stevens was the chairman. He accepted it. The whole commission, like I say, there was just some paperwork that wasn't filed with Sitla to make it official. So that's what we're doing now.
Okay. I'm not going to say this was a complete failure on the part of Lynn Stevens, but
Not at all.
because he's not here to defend himself. It might have been a failure on my part. So I was on the commission then. Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
Jamie makes a motion to approve. Sylvia?
I second.
Sylvia seconds. Please don't tell Lynn Stevens I said that, Sylvia.
I won't.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 And I vote aye as well. 3 in favor and 0 opposed. We are already down to number 13, consideration and approval of amendment number 4 of an independent contractor agreement with Jerry McNeely. TJ, you might want to chime in here as well as Mac about Jerry's duties.
Well, I can touch on this. So we've contracted with Jerry since 2009. And we bumped him, I think the last bump that he's had in actual pay, he's been around $1,200 a month since 2014. So he hasn't asked for any increases in his actual expenditures. In here, we're not giving him a county vehicle. He already has a county vehicle. He's always had a cell phone as well, so we can contact him at any time. And so we've been providing them already throughout this time. The county vehicle, Jerry, he fills up on his own out of his own pocket, and he maintains the vehicle himself. So there's some savings with that. So I don't want you to think that he's taking a county vehicle and there's no out-of-pocket expenses for Jerry on here. We've had Jerry come in and report to the commissioners in the past. We'll start that up again here once winter is finished up. We had him coming in and giving a monthly report to commission in the past, but then COVID hit. Due to COVID, we haven't had him back since then. He's not really astute with technology, and we don't ask him to be really. What he does, some of the public comments were right. He does that atmospheric where he goes out and he'll check flooding, and really this is triggered not only by the county, but also his responsibilities as he's kind of our eyes and ears for Spanish Valley. I don't, myself and, TJ with our road department, we don't have the luxury of being there on site every day in Spanish Valley. And so Jerry's been that liaison for us who is on site. If there's a need that we have for Jerry, we call him up. If there's, say, for example, if we get a complaint on overnight rental in an unfamiliar area, we will send Jerry to check on that. Jerry kind of acts as our eyes and ears, but also our enforcement aspect of it. And so if there's a TRT question or an overnight rental question in an area, we'll send him out and he'll go in and check it. He also coordinates and meets with our land agencies. So the BLM, Forest Service in the area. A lot of coordination takes place up on LaSalle. A lot of people don't, and Sitla as well. A lot of people don't realize how much work we do up on the LaSalles there. Well, Jerry helps coordinate all of that for us. And so key leader engagement in meetings, I think on a monthly basis, he meets with them. Then he reports any issues or concerns back to us on there. If there's a Forest Service project that that we take part of, that we consult on, he also helps us in that consultation there in that area. He does monitor the flooding and that. We've had extensive flooding the last couple years, and he goes out and he monitors those. We've sent him to the meetings that take place with the community. He comes out with us on there as kind of the face to Spanish Valley in all of that area. He meets weekly at the Branding Iron. And anybody that's, from the public wanting to come out and meet with them, he meets there. I believe it's Wednesday at 1:00. You can find him there. So if there's any public issues, public concerns, they can take it to him, and then he brings them into us as questions. So it kind of helps with that. He's attended some of our meetings as we get so spread out, and you're starting to see some of this where we get so spread out. There's a lot of things that we do. Well, he's helped us in some of those meetings. We attended, supposed to attend a watershed meeting. It takes place in Moab. I've sent him to that watershed meeting in my stead where I couldn't make it. He attends that meeting. Kind of takes the notes and is the representative for the county in that meeting. And so just to kind of give you a little bit more of a take on what Jerry does. If and this is the question I always ask myself is, and I'm pretty fiscally prudent with our dollars. If I didn't think Jerry was value added, you wouldn't see this contract coming back before you with the increase. I mean, we gave all of our staff increase. He's a contracted vendor, independent contracted vendor, where we sole source. This isn't something that we've gone out through an RFP, but his time is valuable to me because it allows us the flexibility. We don't have to be there. If he were not there, it would shift the workload from him back to county staff. The county staff would then now have to give up something on our end to engage on the Spanish Valley area. And so we see him as another arm to the county and a strength, just like another employee would be. But to get an employee for $1,500 a month is pretty reasonable cost rather than having to hire an additional planner to do the functions that Jerry does, the performance that he does for us. TJ, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, TJ, do you want to weigh in on this item?
Sure. Yeah, for us, if I pay a staff member to run down every little complaint to figure out what we needed equipment wise, it adds up. And so with Jerry, if I get a complaint, we have a sinkhole, we have something, I can call him. He goes, takes pictures of it, sends them to me. So I know what equipment to sand from the south end of the county. And so, just like Max said, for us not having to go down, evaluate and come back, it doesn't take very many of those trips to make his salary worth it to the county. And that's just from the road department. And there's multiple things like Max saying that he does. So I know when this got brought up before, I was a big proponent of keeping, when we have, like Max says, eyes down there, we get complaints, you can send somebody to give us the facts down there, because they're working for the county. It helps us out. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Let's have Nick Sandberg also weigh in on this. Jerry works under Nick.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, I would support what's been said in support of Mr. McNeely's work. As the Public Lands Coordinator for the county, Jerry maintains that face-to-face contact with BLM and Forest Service personnel and staff, basically on a
And Sitla too.
and Sitla, basically on a weekly basis. And I get feedback from him on that. And basically, he is the eyes and ears for the county in the Spanish Valley area, and particularly on the La Salle Mountains with the Forest Service. So I think his efforts are well worth and useful to the county here. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. I'll just say, Sylvia and Jamie, you haven't probably met Jerry yet, and he's anxious to meet you. But Jerry's been an employee for us, a contract employee, since 2009. We went through the water and sewer development in Spanish Valley, which we needed somebody there representing us that could give feedback to the road department and Mac and others. And he did a great job there, interacted with Sitla a lot, because they were really involved in the development of Spanish Valley, and contributed a lot of money to getting sewer and water to our residents down there. And I think he's really been a valuable resource for us to have in that end of the county. We had a devastating fire in Pack Creek a year or two ago, and there's just a lot going on there, and in the La Salle area and up on the La Salle Mountain, that he provides a lot of help to us with those items. And so that's kind of my input. Do we have a motion to approve amendment number 4, independent contract agreement with Jerry McNeely?
Commissioner, I'll go ahead and make that motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Jamie. Do we have a second, Sylvia?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Is there further discussion, or go ahead, Jamie?
Yes, Commissioner, I'd like to inquire along the lines of independent contracting, and just since we're approving this contract, perhaps writing into some of the agreement the requirements that I think would be helpful. I recognize the concerns that were provided from the public, and they are from older women who seem to be residents of the community, and I don't want to just discard those comments, because they do matter to an extent, and we're grateful that the community is providing input at this level. But to the point of contracting, Commissioners, my interest is in regards to how many independent contractors we have in place that are similar to Mr. McNeely's contracts.
Matt, you want to
Let's
take
see,
it?
just Jerry is really the only individual that we have. When you look at an RFP process, this is something that, as we look at the purchasing policy and you follow that policy, you couldn't solicit the public to get his knowledge in operations where he's kind of been a fixture there in Spanish Valley, Moab, Grand County, and San Juan County for years. He also sits on the GUISA, which is the it's the Grand and Spanish Valley Water Conservancy District, and so he represents the county in that. And so, because of his expertise and his knowledge in that area, it's pretty hard to RFP that and get that same type of result, especially the networking and connections that he has politically. With that being said, back to your question, how many other independent contracts? This is really the only one. I think some of the contracts that we've had here in the past that have continued, we've got our public defender contract, but we can send that out to an RFP. Our fair operates under a vendor, an independent vendor like this. That one we can issue an RFP, but really there's only one person that can do the fair that we feel here in this area that would willing to take that on with the minimal resources that we pay. If you look at this as $1,500 a month, it's pretty small paying. Typically on our bigger vendors, our bigger independent contracts, we will specifically state it. We did in the past an independent contract for the redistricting agent that we had hired. That cost us around what was it, $5,000 to contract with an independent redistricting agent, and he come in and helped us do that. And so a lot of them are pretty small in budgetary figures when it comes to the independent contracts. Anything of great magnitude will typically require an RFP.
Jamie, we have other independent contractors of a different nature. We have somebody that runs the airport at Cal Black, who is an independent contractor, and he has some expertise out there. Lyman, you say there are 3 of them?
I have 3 Navajo-speaking liaisons that I contract with every 2 years.
Okay, so we do have independent contractors, and they're all a little bit different. Jerry's different than the one that runs the airport, and different from the independent contractors that help with Navajo language when it comes to voting, and we have we have others that deal with issues on the reservation from time to time that help us. We spend a lot of time with Navajo Utah Commission and try to use that venue on the reservation to help us with issues down on the reservation. If you think of any others, Mac?
No.
But we do have these independent contractors that provide services for us. We have some independent contractors that do things with our computer system, and they, of course, they're specialized in what they do. But I don't know. I hope that kind of helps.
That does help, commissioners, and I look forward to meeting Jerry myself in person. He sounds as though he's valuable because of BLM, the SITLA, the LaSalle activities that are out there. I think from a responsible perspective, because this is all new to me as well, when we go with independent contractors, do we follow the bidding process? I'm sure all of the independent contractors that we would like to entertain, do we usually do an RFP?
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
And Mr. McNeely's RFP was out there.
Yep.
No, his is his would be a sole source contract on here. If you look at the packet in the summary, I specifically mentioned that this is a sole source contract. We're soliciting for this type of service is something that can only be provided by this vendor with his expertise.
And that's kind of the same with the ones that Lyman uses. Those are kind of sole source, specialized
Right.
contracts that we don't necessarily do an RFP on.
Because I'm just thinking with Lyman's sole source contracts, he's always got a specific kind of employee who's able to speak the language.
Mm-hmm.
But those are usually shared out in the community, right, Lyman?
Yeah, and we look for more also, to have backup and to additional locations. It's not just to speak the language, but to speak the language of elections.
Right.
And Jamie, Jerry McNeely is a former Grand County commissioner,
I see.
councilman, so
I see.
he also has a lot of background in how government works, and so he's been really valuable in meeting with those three agencies that are housed in Moab,
Right.
on a weekly basis. So,
Well, one thing that I find is important is that Mr. McNeely would be coming back to provide reports.
right,
I know those are necessary and important.
he'll be here for all of our commission meetings.
Okay. So I think that would be critical is giving reports. I'm assuming they're all oral reports. At some point, maybe we can work on written reports to help, because usually in a commission meeting we're trying to run
Right.
with time. I think at some point, and I don't want to dismiss Mr. McNeely at any, sounds like he's done a lot of good work. His efforts are critical to the county. But at some point, perhaps we might consider opening up an RFP. Maybe we have experts in the community out there that could be interested too. At some point. However, I think for the sake of time, and because this is, from what I understand, very critical to the interests of the county, I think we'll move forward. I think it's important Mr. McNeely meet with the public at some point to hear those concerns we heard here at this level, to try and resolve those. I think that would be good if he can focus his efforts on that to see if something can be done to solve that. So
You make some very good points, Jamie. I appreciate you bringing those up and having some discussion. I think it's valuable that, we have discussion on items similar to this. Sylvia, have you got anything that you want to?
Yes. Between us not being in the same room, it's kind of hard sometimes to hear. I appreciate the presentation from the people supporting. What is his name? Jerry. I also was wondering if we could table this to the next meeting, so it gives a chance for us to kind of think a little bit more about how we can balance the need that we have for Jerry and all the good he does, but also be able to. I had some concern even before anybody said anything else. I was thinking, I wasn't sure how to vote, and I know if I vote right now, it probably no, because I don't know very much, and I'm more informed now after listening, but it's kind of hard to hear. Some of the microphones are quiet and some are not, but so I just wonder the possibility of tabling this gives us a chance for to have more of a discussion, talk about some of the things, how we can balance the need that the people feel, and be able to still have Jerry work for us.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor, so I'm going to call for a vote, and I appreciate the fact that you have some questions, and I think those questions would be good to ask Jerry when he comes to our next commission meeting, Sylvia, and so I'm going to go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor of this item, say aye.
Aye.
I'll vote aye as well. Sylvia, do you want to vote nay?
I'll go nay.
Okay, we have the motion passes with 2 in favor and 1 against, and that certainly doesn't mean that we can't have discussion with Jerry in a future meeting, Sylvia. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, number 14 is an item that I would like to bring before the commissioners today. It's a resolution. It's a resolution encouraging economic development, a renewed effort to improve zoning and increase economic development opportunities, and a commitment to work with developers, property owners, and the public to bring vitality and growth to San Juan County. I don't know if you've had a chance to read over this. One item that in the whereases that I would like to point out is on the second page. It's the first item. It says, whereas the county acknowledges that in the past 4 years, we have not done a good job encouraging development. We have not worked with cities and towns on a political front to encourage growth and development in an effort to reverse these negative trends. We have a therefore that I think is probably the most important. Be it hereby resolved, the Board of County Commissioners pass, adopt, and approve this resolution encouraging the following. We encourage all forms of smart growth development, the expansion of existing companies, the attraction of businesses, the developers' efforts to include manufacturing opportunities, hotel development, and big box opportunities. Second bullet point, we encourage and are helping to promote mineral extraction and the expansion of those businesses engaged in that extraction. Third bullet point, we encourage businesses looking at entering the market here in San Juan County to reach out to county staff to assist in solving workforce housing availability issues and to work with us to create solutions to solve deficiency in the availability of housing. Fourth bullet point, we encourage city and town officials to encourage new growth opportunities, to be open-minded with development, whether big or small, and to work with their planning commissioners to seek ways that ordinances can be friendly and inclusive towards smart growth. Number 4, we encourage our citizens and property owners to assist us in these efforts to help promote development and growth in our county, to open the broad-minded and vacant commercial businesses, to open the boarded up and vacant commercial businesses and assist us in these efforts to resolve these concerning trends. Number 5, 6, we encourage the Navajo Nation Division of Economic Development Director to work with the county to promote the Opportunity Zone and encourage business development to take place at our chapters in an effort to help accomplish the chapter's community land use plans. Okay, that's basically the resolution. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion to approve, Sylvia. Second.
Second.
Okay, further questions or comments?
just a comment, Commissioner. I'm very grateful to the author of this resolution. Very grateful to the authors of this resolution, specifically because of being inclusive to the Navajo Nation and bringing the Navajo Nation, inviting them to come and work with the county. That's excellent. I think that will help enhance the efforts of economic development on the Navajo reservation that are in the county. So thank you very much. And I know I know that if we do our best to get this resolution into action, I think throughout most of the county we can benefit significantly. So those are my comments, Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Sylvia, you want to make a comment?
I just want to say I'm very excited about this. I think we got lots of good opportunities. Like just today, I saw a former little baby that used to be in my daycare, and now he's 31, and he's into developing business and trying to assist Westwater with some business development. And I'm very excited for opportunities. And I think that's one thing that we can help people grab those opportunities and we can grow together. And I'm very excited thank you.
I see we have Elaine Giesler online, and this resolution pertains a lot to what her office does. I've wondered if, Elaine, you wanted a chance to comment.
Yes, I do. I am extremely happy to see this resolution. We have a tremendous amount of opportunity in San Juan County. To me, this means we're open for business. My hope is that we could get the individual cities to work with us when it comes to smart, opportunities for bringing in growth. And the boarded up businesses, we lose so much sales tax revenue from those businesses. And I hope that each community, if we can work with them, we can help to lift San Juan County up by getting these boarded up buildings open. I also think the housing, I started to work on housing with some of the communities. We're still working on it. Bluff in particular, but if I can work with the individual cities and we can partner together, I really think at this juncture we all residents of San Juan County have to have an open mind about bringing in revenue that will help each and every citizen. It will help our infrastructure. It will really help everything. I am delighted to see this resolution, and I can't thank the commissioners and Mac for bringing this to the table. I'm very excited, and also want to let you know that the Southeast Utah Association of Local Governments agreed on Friday to spend money, about $15,000 to $20,000, to do a feasibility study for San Juan County, so we can look at what that feasibility study will tell us about what opportunities we have to bring in businesses here. So I'm also excited about that. So I thank you for your support. This is really going to make a difference with us moving San Juan County forward.
Thanks, Elaine. Okay, we'll go ahead and vote on this. All in favor of this resolution, say aye.
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 And I do too. So that's 3 in favor and zero opposed. Okay, we're trying to get to Salt Lake today to deal with the legislature. I want to, Sylvia and Jamie, I forwarded a email I got from UAC that gives you a packet on what you need to know going to the legislature. It gives you committee assignments. It's really helpful. So I hope you'll be able to find that email that I forwarded to you from UAC this morning. They may have sent it to you already, I don't know. But I forwarded it to you just in case, because it will be helpful to you as you attend the legislature. Okay, with that, we have
Thank
one
you.
more motion to make. Would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion to adjourn. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we stand adjourned until our next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sylvia. We'll see you up there.
How is the weather over there?
Snowy. It won't stop, which is good. It's going to be a pain to drive in. I looked at the weather. Price is supposed to be pretty clear up until later this afternoon, and so we're going to want to try to go up over the mountain by around 3 o'clock this afternoon. At least that was last night that I looked at. It might have changed.
We had to, Jamie and I had to be at 3 o'clock in Taylorsville, so
Yeah.
we'll see you. Thank you.
Okay. We'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
I gotta go push snow before I can leave.
Me too.
Thanks.
No problem. Thank you.
Got a rope. I got a rope. Unbelievable. Only cost $110,000.
I know, crazy, huh?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. But
I'm not done with that. I'm gonna go talk to the boys up north and see if we can
I think
remedy that. That was crazy.
well, and especially where we've
Good job today. Good questions. There's something I'm gonna tell you about Robert's rules. It's really fun. Did a good job. So moved. All you gotta do is say so moved. Somebody says something you wanna do it, just say so moved.